really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. Top 14 Pro Day, the Nationale, Champions and Challenge Cups, the French national team, and of course the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fan stadiums, everything that makes the French game the one we know and love. Rob, Happy New Year. It's our first pod of 2026. It is freezing and very dark, so we're doing this in the morning, but how are you?
Happy New Year. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine. It's a new year. I've got all of the typical New Year feelings of a heavy Christmas. But yeah,
sweating it out.
I'm not too cold. I'm not too cold. Even though radiator's off. There's a massive radiator next to me. I'm kept warm by one last outing for the Section Paroisse jumper.
The final hurrah this festive season.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
You sound a little bit I
am, mate.
Wintry.
I feel like I've been like this for on and off for about 6 weeks, which is a bit frustrating, but we'll muddle our way through. Possibly not helped by a sort of last minute trip to go and watch some championship rugby, the big local, big ground share derby, Richmond versus London Scottish on Saturday. Turned out to be 27-26 thriller, which was wow. A lot of fun, and it was absolutely bouncing down there. It was obviously kind of back end of Christmas, and a lot of fun. But yeah, that's a couple in a couple of weeks between us on the championship rugby front.
It was potentially eyeing up another.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go to. I think the next game's Caldy on the 24th, but I did see that was taking place. But no, it was great crack. I did also see that in stark contrast to the top 14 this weekend, there were also 3 1-point wins in the championship. Very very Nationale, I dare say. Based on recent rounds of that, which obviously returns this week too.
That is roughly where it does feel. Did it feel more like a Nationale game than a Pro Day game? Obviously, two historic clubs.
It probably did. I mean, I've been to Richmond that maybe like the 4th or 5th time I've been in the last, 2 or 3 years, and generally seen them play. So I saw, actually it would have been London Scottish played Jersey Reds a few years back, and there was a real disparity there when Jersey were, when did they fold? A couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
And then seen Ealing a couple of times, seen the big man, Dan Lancaster, seen Craig Willis, all these guys who have torn it up in the past, and they did look a stretch ahead. So Nationale probably slightly more, and the bar as well was very Nationale, just people absolutely going for it. Not a huge amount of order, but a lot of fun. Rob, 2026, any French rugby resolutions? I think this time last year we said we wanted to get to a Nationale game and managed to tick that off.
We
pretty
did,
quickly.
yeah. We managed to tick off quite a few of our hopes and fears, our resolutions last year, didn't we? We kind of had, I think mine were to go back to Saxby, go back to Po, which were 2 things as well that I wanted to do. I wanted to do Derby weekend, which I did, and then some, by doing 3 in 3 days. Although Biarritz, Béziers, not much of the Pyrenean
Mediterranean
Pyrenean derby. Yeah. I don't know whether I feel less optimistic coming into 2026 from a French rugby perspective, I would say.
Okay.
In terms of French rugby, I feel very optimistic about Rosby, so don't worry, Richard. But yeah, I don't quite know why. I think because maybe it's because the Champions Cup has lost a little bit of its luster, and I don't know. I don't know. I'd say, okay, here's one big hope for Section Paroisse to make the top 14 semis. That's the obvious one, which hopefully feels doable. Whether they get there kind of straight away or have to go through a home barrage, I don't know. But yeah, that would be my big hope. The other one, I would like by the end of 2026 to have ticked off the full 14 of the top 14 sides, because with us going to La Rochelle in a couple of weeks, I will have one left after that. which
That Toulon.
amazingly is Toulon, which is relatively easy to get to and imagine relatively easy to get tickets to. Annoyingly, the one that I really want to go to is probably going to end up being in Marseille. So yeah, or
Yeah,
is in Marseille. We know it's in Marseille. Yeah, maybe a few more Pro Day grounds. Few new. I think my focus this year is to get to new ones. To say that we've ticked off more. I don't know. Not that it's about ticking off. It's about experiencing different places. But yeah, I think
yeah. I'd quite like to. I think on my grounds bucket list, that I'm not necessarily saying these places, but maybe some of the slightly trickier destinations or less obvious. So the Lac screams one.
Aurillac is one that is there's a potential option. Valence Romans, I know you really want to get to.
Yeah, I would like to
Mate,
go to Valence.
you're very keen on the Valence Romans Toulon double header, which would tick off a couple for us and
Yeah, the
potentially be
old
quite.
the TGV double header, absolutely miles apart, but only an hour and a
But
half on the train.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they'd be
um,
the big ones. Maybe like an Oyonnax, somewhere like that, which I know is not supposed to be the most salubrious place, but proper rugby town would be quite good fun. Yeah, that's probably the hopes. The fears that I'm kind of with you a little bit, and I think the Champions Cup losing its luster is one of them. I
and
think
France
also.
losing their luster as well as the other one for me.
Well, I would say in the last few weeks, and the La Rochelle Toulon game this weekend was a big example of this. And of course, there are always mitigating circumstances, but there have been a lot of. I wouldn't say there's been a huge lot of intrigue in the last maybe few weeks of the top 14 in terms of turn up for the books results. We mentioned last week the kind of paucity of away wins, with the exception of Montauban and Perpignan's horrible start to the season, and then being quite easy pickings in for visiting sides to an extent. But I'm looking forward to getting to the point of the season where it's a little bit less will they, won't they on the teams that are being picked. I think that is casting a little bit of a cloud over both. The whole kind of cliche, and we'll go through it in a bit as is our want and we love to do, of the French sides in Europe has been there forever. So maybe it's a bit harsh to judge on that, and with the format of the Champions Cup in particular. But the flip side of that is because it's targeting the top 14, and I do think at points and the Toulon La Rochelle game felt like it was a bit of a farce, wasn't it? Basically
Yeah.
sent the under nines and got absolutely thumped, and probably should have been more than, what did it end up, 66-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to a little bit more, to kind of those weeks where it feels like something's riding on it every week in the top 14.
Well, I'm Predator to a slightly lesser extent, but I think Predator has been more competitive this year. Certainly feels like it's been. I don't know the stats, but it feels like teams have generally gone
Definitely.
okay-ish away from home in terms of team selection. This season feels like the year of the team selection, the season of the team selection. Like it's whether you're going to be interested in a game just feels so determined by what the announcement 24 hours before, and that can just completely sway whether you're excited about a game or not. I get excited for the Friday team announcements, but sometimes, but it's and same with the Thursday ones for Pro Day. But sometimes it's like, oh, okay, that game, the one that's televised, is actually going to be not that interesting. Whereas like this weekend, like the Saturday afternoon ones were all going to be really interesting, and yet you kind of had a little bit. You kind of knew that the La Rochelle Toulon one might be a little bit crap, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. Shall we start then?
Anything for the national side? I would like to see them refine their form, because I listened to the Ruck's World 15, and they had one player from France in there, and basically the only other player, and that was Louis Bielbiret. The only other player mentioned was Dupont. There was no, maybe Flamand was kind of in the mix, but I was thinking about direct messaging Elgin to be like, how on earth has Thomas Ramos not even been mentioned? But I would like to see them. They won the Six Nations, but that feels like a long time ago. Like in theory, they had one of the best Six Nations. Well, we said at the time, one of the best Six Nations wins without a Grand Slam there's been, we reckon, in our totally expert opinion. I would like to see them play some good attacking rugby. I think that's what it is it became very stagnant. And I would like to see them see some of those belting, thrilling, all-court game performances.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd completely agree. I think they it felt like over the autumn they went backwards slightly, and that they are, well, certainly based on those performances, a team that are kind of less than the sum of their parts. And I think that's been quite a frustrating watch. So yeah, I'd agree. I want to see, and also the trends. Well, maybe the trend's a bit unfair, but certainly if you look at like a team like South Africa that have evolved into a side that, okay, everyone kicks the leather off it, but they do offer more in attack than they did a couple of years ago. And I hope
Yeah.
that means that sides like France, who aren't at that level, or frankly anywhere near that level right now, maybe that needs to they need to catch up, and maybe just maybe there's someone in there who can spark that bloke. He's playing all right in the top 14 at the moment.
Oh, well, I was gonna. That's not where I was gonna go. But look, how about this for a link? There was one person is at the key, at the heart of that France attack, arguably the key man at the France attack in the France attack, the attack coach Patrick Arletas, who was in the crowd for. You said there weren't that many shocks this season. One of the shock results ish of the season. He was in the crowd at Stade Amy Giral.
Was
Let's
it?
get into this week's games. How's that for a link? That took you a
No, it
long
was
time to
nicely done. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Took me a while. Yeah, Perpignan, two
former
on the
Perpignan
spin.
coach.
They're back.
Two on the spin at home.
On the spin at home. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
I was kind of very. I was
Which
like
is
trying to work
quite,
that out. I was like, hang on, did they? No, they did lose last week.
maybe
A
Clermont, didn't they?
couple of weeks ago.
A
Yeah,
couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I think I guess a couple of some interesting bits of from the outset. You mentioned selection. The Toulouse team, I guess the talk was dominated by Calvin Gorg playing at 10, which I don't think he'd done certainly in the top 14. I didn't realise he kicked goals, which
I
is
kind of
very cool.
thought. Yeah, I thought he might do because I know that he was for a long like on the listings, kind of pre this season. He was always listed as like a fly half, and I'd only ever really seen him at fullback or centre. I thought he was pretty good, and he kicked goals really
Yeah,
nicely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just sort of underlying the talent that I think everyone clearly sees is there. The overall selection was a fascinating one though, because I think with that and then a couple of there are a couple of the real young guys on the bench, a couple of starts for Vinier and Alarai at 15 as well.
They picked a non-international fullback.
Yeah, the temerity to
The
do that.
temerity when you've got six in your squad,
When you have to scrape the barrel for someone who's not an international.
a seventh choice international fullback.
But
No,
actually
seventh choice
be
fullback.
and there's Bertrand and Lacombe and guys like that, but we've seen they are more than worth their salt in the top 14. So it's actually probably one of those that my initial thought was, oh god, they've sent the well, with an eye to next week, and we forget the ridiculous depth of their squad. But actually, if you go name by name, and there's Nemor on the bench as well, who I think was making his first ever appearance in the top 14, you still got two international tight heads, Meafu, Entermac, Grau, Costes, Teddy Thomas. You still got like Champions Cup winners. You still got first choice France players, and so on. And yeah, I think the two things that stood out this for me, and there's nothing particularly tactical here. I think Perpignan looked at one point at the end of the first half like a team that could get absolutely shredded to pieces, and that it could just fall apart despite a fairly encouraging start. And it's to their credit, given how poor they've been, that they've managed to scrap it back to a fantastic win. Lovely to see Antoine Okan starting as well. This week's team sheet did not have his gammy thumb on it though, which was a little bit of a shame.
I did see that, yeah. I was eagerly looking out for it.
Possibly not suitable for it'd be like a 15 rating for
Lunchtime
horror
kickoff,
and gore. And then the other thing was I just loved Pacelli Arto's performance in the second half. Guy who I think was going all the way back to that Clermont Harlequins game, the sort of the birth of Rosbius back then was so phenomenal. And added a few years and maybe a few pounds on, but he was amazing. And not just because he went over for a try. There were some huge carries, big interventions, like a massive kind of tackle and counter ruck, which turned over Toulouse that stopped a probable try, I reckon. And just love seeing him doing his work, really.
I think it was all about the the bench, because it did look the way that Grau and Gorge and Costs were linking at the back end of that first half. It looked like it. Okay, Perpignan had a sniff, and now that's going to be snuffed out, as happens to many teams that play against Toulouse. But they made big changes at half time, and it was the bench that completely transformed it. A lot of Argentinians had a big say, but I thought Ignacio Ruiz was the big game changer. I don't think I'd ever quite seen him. Maybe it was because the kind of slightly callowness of some of the Toulouse players, and perhaps there's slight lack of physicality there. But he was like motoring over people and stuff like that. Like it's the Yato try. There is a fantastic carry off the back of the line out from Ruiz. And he obviously gets the try that gets him going, kind of sneaking around the fringes as well. I thought he was excellent. I think Oviedo scored the final try as well. The other guy, another Fijian French, who I thought was really good, was Dungivalu, guy that's kind of clearly got something. He got capped by France in the summer, and did he get capped, or was he just playing in the France A game? But like turnovers, it just felt like if they got it to Dungivalu and with a bit of help from Yato and Oviedo and guys like that, then Dungivalu was going to be the guy that was going to break the gain line. He was brilliant defensively as well, but there was one try that got chalked off very harshly, I think, for a block. Well, not a try, but the break, and he was just going to motor through. He just looked like a kind of like you see with Fijians sometimes. It's guys like Yato. It's just this guy's so physical and so explosive and can just break the game open at will. I really enjoyed watching him. And then a shout out for another player that I've always loved. Perhaps understandably, but I thought Jamie Ritchie, first season, Jack Willis gets loads of hype for captaining Toulouse, but you've got a guy who's been captain of Perpignan less than half a season in France and is just putting in the sort of performances that we know he can put in. Like, it's just all energy, abrasive, like disruptive at the breakdown, great at the line out. Yeah, I just think that's a really. I'm glad to see that Perpignan have picked up their form and he is in good form. I think that's because it's a bit like if you leave he's been at Edinburgh for years and you go over to France and then it's just a bit crap. You're like, oh, poor bloke.
Yeah, definitely. And also, at the top there, mentioned that at points, I don't think the top 14 has been as compelling as it could have been. Having and obviously it's only a couple of wins, but having at least a strong at home Perpignan will make the remainder of the season far more interesting than it has been today. So yeah, fantastic for them. A shout out as well, our man, only a short cameo, but Job Poulet did come off the bench, the greatest name in the world.
Job Poulet, yeah.
Job Chicken is back. So enjoyed it.
I just want to pick up, I saw on Twitter from the rugby account Rugby Passion, and this is translated from French by Grok on X. But it basically summed up kind of a feeling I had after the Glasgow game, which obviously then points us forward to next week a little bit. But translated, it says, unfortunately, Costs is the kind of thrill-seeker player, but in the end, he often costs you more points than he brings you. He doesn't know how to channel himself, and he doesn't improve in managing what he can attempt or not based on the momentum of matches. And I think that's a perfect summary of my feelings of whether it's actually what Rugby Passion said in French, but either that or Grok has perfectly summarised my feelings on Paul Cost, is that he just do it. He's just trying to be the spark player in attack and defence a little bit too much. And I think, and he wasn't at fault for this game, but like they could have, just put a lid on it a little bit, and he wasn't putting a lid on it.
In the first half, when it was going nicely, there were a couple of lovely sort of half breaks and pretty audacious offloads from Costs, weren't there? Which were like, oof, that is high class, but on the edge. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, he's
still trying to do it when they're 14 points up or whatever, or 11 points up in the second half, and it's just like, no, this just needs a little bit of boot in the corner sort of thing.
Maturity. Yeah. I mean, the guy, he's still only 22, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was, 2 years or coming up to 2 years ago, was absolutely phenomenal for them when they won the Champions Cup. I think it's heavily linked with La Rochelle, right? And I wonder
he had signed like an 8-year deal, though.
Did he?
Yeah, he signed like an enormous deal back in that season.
Interesting. Oh, maybe that is proper speculation then. But I also wonder if a little bit of it, one is he's still young. Two is they've got Meloncello coming in. They've got Barassi when he comes back from injury.
Talk
I
about
guess
us.
Arky's gone, but they've got Gorg now there as 12. Like you get your opportunity. Maybe there is just a little, it feels like there's a little bit of pressure to be the main man. But
Yeah,
yeah, I enjoy watching him. But I think, I mean, it's potentially goes if he because I think what was so clear when he burst on a couple of years ago was that not just the explosiveness and the game breaking stuff, but he seemed to was the kind of brain that everyone was talking
yeah,
about, and maybe he's just reverted to age and type a little bit. But yeah,
yeah.
I've got a lot of time for him. I reckon he'll trim his lid at some point, and that will be the moment where it all clicks. That's my
It's
feeling.
gonna fall. It's gonna go. He needs Big Ben Tamafuna's Clippers.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen
Then
to
on
me.
look
To be honest,
hard.
mate. Yeah, shall we? Yeah, that was a cracking way to start the weekend, and very much a good scheduling pick, I'd say there. The next one, which I mean, I haven't got too much to say, but did follow on Premier Sports, was Stade Francais. Picked a looked like a really strong, complete, very Stade Francais side
Yeah,
against Cast, who yet again looked excellent at points, but just a bit wasteful. Final pass is not sticking. Had a wonder try chalked off for an incredibly avoidable forward pass. Yeah, they're just slow starts of and just patches of inaccuracy have kind of killed them a little bit all year, really, for Cast.
it just for me, it just doesn't feel like Cash should be 11th.
They've really, yeah, I know what you
They
mean.
feel like a better team than that. Like their
Yeah,
narrative feels. I feel less concerned about Cast than Clermont, Bayonne, La Rochelle,
and I
and
think the
they're all
way
above
they're
them.
playing is actually on probably a bit of an upward trajectory from the start of the season, but they haven't. I still don't think they've got a attacking bonus point against anyone. And
That's because they
I
just
mean,
cough up leads. They're just too
yeah, well,
wasteful.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So that's been a problem. But yeah, I think actually they're probably kind of 80% of the way there, but they have been inaccurate at the last. Villamoni Petitu is playing some apps. We mentioned him last week, playing some ridiculous rugby.
mate, gassed Joe Marchant twice in this game.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That try, the one he does score. I thought the first one that gets chalked off, that was a bit like, oh, come on, lads. I think that only gets chalked off because they've gone back to look at the high, whether it was a high shot and whether it was a knock on and whether there was an offside. Or I don't think they look at the final pass if that's
I've
just an off the
I've
top
no
line out from their own 22.
yeah, I've no issues, but it's also we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the forward pass just not being refed, and it
Yeah,
feels like the sort of thing
it's
that's
flat. That's flat.
just being let slide. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. But yeah, he did leave Marchant, and is the one where like Marchant tries to kind of it looks like he almost tries to push Carbonell into Petitu, and they both end up just on the deck like
Is that
sprawling.
the one that he does score? Yeah.
Yeah. But Petitu's they've locked him down to 2028, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
unsurprising, which is very cool.
He's
But
still quite young.
Stade Francais again, just chipping away. They look like a really well the complete opposite of last year. A really well coached
Yeah.
side. Tonga was really good
Really good.
as well.
He's stinging from being left out of our team of mid-season, I reckon.
Absolutely.
As
But
was Nene.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've mentioned it. He's had a fantastic season. So yeah, I'm liking the look of Stade Francais. I think they'll go deep, not least because they challenge cup. They can. No one really cares till the end, and I think they'll probably go quite deep in that as well. But
yeah.
just that pressure off, I think, is
They've got a
puts them in a
horror
good place.
record in Europe. Like they haven't got. I don't think they've got like out the knockout, like out of the group stage since they won the Challenge Cup in like 2016 or something
Oh,
like
really?
that. Yeah, I remember looking at it. It's like they basically haven't bothered for about 10 years, and the last time they bothered, they won it. They won the Challenge Cup. So
Nice.
that was quite a good quite a good finish that game in terms of the whole bonus point thing because it looked like Cast had stolen it, and then there was a very very good tap and go from Matassi. And Barre was on it. He was on it and kind of streaked away for a try. It was a good game. Well, good game in the end. The first half was a bit messy.
Yeah. What
There was
else
a
was
lot of like
going on?
the turnover count and the penalty count in that was horrific. It's
Sloppy.
just yeah.
What else was taking place elsewhere, Rob? Leon, a much needed win against your boys Poe.
Yeah, the big storyline here, Richard, is not the return, unfortunately, not the return of Teo Atisogbe. the Attishog Bays were very excited on Friday evening when we saw his name on the team sheet. But the big story, I was a little bit shame it was so early on, but the match-winning try ultimately is scored by Sam Simmons. So the revenge of Sam Simmons after the Elsa Minzico drop goal, the real French derby. Unfortunately, Joe Simmons not playing, but some revenge of sorts for Sam Simmons, who was scampering at that charge down for Montpellier last year and just didn't quite get there. But he had a very, very good game, actually. Not just the try, but kind of getting over the gain line generally, and just he looks in really good form. Shame he didn't get signed for Poe. So there's I don't know whether Timoth RFC guys were. I don't know whether they were there or not.
Or the uncle.
I know they were at Bristol
with a new half and half.
Yeah, I think that's arguably a better half and half. The black and green that could be, or black and red and green and white. That would be quite. I'm intrigued to see what that would look like.
Quite aggressive.
But yeah, the Elsa Minzico done for another year.
It's all over. Yeah, shame.
But they outmuscled Poe were pretty. I think that's a missed opportunity. Like
got a defensive bonus point, right? Which
is good. Yeah, Jimmy's developing a bit of an eye for the line.
Yeah,
but given that they put a relatively strong side out against a team
one to target.
Well,
yeah, fair enough. Montpellier, who have been very good recently, absolutely thumped Bayonne.
I've not seen any of this game, but I don't know how it ended up at that scoreline.
Yeah, absolutely hammering, but like a bit old school Bayonne, really, isn't it?
They put a good side out. There is some talking of old school. There's some proper old school off the field noises happening at Bayonne because they brought in Laurent Travers.
Yeah, I saw this has resurfaced again, hasn't it? It looked like it maybe was.
They call that sword
down
of Damocles. Is that what when you've got something hanging over you? I feel like that's the analogy. But like they signed Greg Patat, or the head coach Greg Patat, for another 3 years or whatever, yet brought in Laurent Travers, a man with a wealth of experience in the top 14 as director of rugby or sporting director or whatever. And yet there is talk of him now moving closer to the ground, boots on the pitch sort of thing. And it's like, this just doesn't why did you extend the contract of Patat? It's clearly, it's not going, whatever's happening isn't working, because that's a really bad result with quite a strong side against a Montpellier side they should be relatively well matched against. And Montpellier don't score loads of points. So for Montpellier to rack up 60 odd or whatever, that's a pretty horrible result for Bayonne. So there's something not right. And you can't help but think it's because you've got the president, Philippe Tailleb, just sticking his nose in and being like, right, well, I quite like the look of this man. I'm a bit bored of this. So why don't I shake things up by getting another big name in to change things? It's just, that is French rugby club president.
Yeah.
Like completely. 101, isn't it? Just like get a little bit bored and just cock up like a really good long-term plan just because you're bored. Well, go a bit Chelsea or Man United on it.
I remember speaking to, when we interviewed Alex Moon, he was saying how, I mean, obviously it was his first season there, but he'd been saying, and the results were borne out, right, with Bayonne last season, but just how kind of un-French or un-cliched in his approach Patat was. Very level-headed, very kind of steady Eddie, considered, very kind of strategic approach to everything he does. And the fact that something so good seems to have been sullied by these kind of off-field machinations, which are totally avoidable. I mean, it must be so frustrating for them as I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not the only thing, but it feels the obvious thing, right? And you must be like, what? How have we done this? Why are we shooting ourselves in the foot?
It's not injuries, it's not personnel, it's not game plan. It's, I mean, the line-out's not working as well as it did last year, but it's not just that. You don't lose by 40 points. You don't lose by, well, the team selection was obviously the big thing in the Champions Cup, and we'll come on to that, I guess. But I think that's kind of stopped their momentum a little bit, I think, changing things up. I think there is an argument for doing definitely a Bordeaux and just keeping going. Talking of which, this was in the balance, whatever, I can't remember what the final score was. Wrestling with 20 points to 16 up.
Yeah.
62-20 they lost.
Yeah, and
they could have gone even further. Yeah, they could have gone further ahead.
Albeit for I think it was definitely a dodgy clear out. But I mean, we keep mentioning it. Well, one, we keep mentioning that Bordeaux do have this knack of suddenly being able to win a game in 10 minutes by just turning it up. So we've said that a million times. We've also said a million times that Mathieu Jalibert is playing some of the best rugby I think we could have ever seen, certainly at club level.
Here's one. Is there a player ever that has been in such good form at club level that isn't first choice for or isn't near the first choice team for their national side? Close, I can think of Sam Simmons in the year that he got picked for the Lions, but I couldn't think of anyone that was like this unstoppable in his all-round game. Like even like when people were clamoring for Cipriani or guys like that, like people like he wasn't playing like this.
No, I can't.
Like, Jalibert is just playing some. He looks rapid. Like he cleared out Vinaya Hambosi at one point, like to secure a ball in the 22. Like, yeah, the guy.
Yeah, he looks a bit possessed at points.
Yeah,
he's genuinely just he can do it all.
I think there will be if Gaultier doesn't pick him. I genuinely think there might be some sort of uproar because I think I might give this up because what's the point? We'll do a ban talking about the French national side. We'll just do club rugby because he's just. I mean, the game was changed when Deporter came on, and that is another guy in sensational form. He looked rapid as well, but and they brought on Biel Biarré, who I think is quite quick. I reckon he's quite quick, but I mean, two pretty handy guys to bring off the bench. But but Jalibert is just he's on another level in terms of the rugby he's playing at the moment.
Yeah, and it's everything in terms of in the same way that when we've spoken about Dupont, a number of involvements, and now maybe Dupont has the sort of defensive effectiveness as well, or the way people are talking about Sasha Feinberg on Gomazulu in terms of kicking, distribution, running, like through contact. Like it's everything. It's not like he's just putting him in great areas. It's not like he's just got a brilliant running game. It is like every time he gets the ball, it feels like he's going to do something that's going to break the game open. Yeah. And it's awesome to watch. And I can't wait for this weekend, that fixture, which we'll talk about in just a sec. Yeah, it could be amazing.
It's got the most 50-22s in the top 14.
I mean,
this season with 3.
Oh, really? but I mean, that in itself, we said it again, like, feel a bit broken record, but his kicking game is one of the things that really does seem to have come on in the last couple of years. And when you add that to everything he's already got, it baffles me that he. Well, maybe this Six Nations is the time. I hope.
Hopefully.
The two other games we haven't discussed. Well, we did mention La Rochelle, Toulon, complete blowout. Not sure there's much more.
Boys.
And Montauban, rather, who succumbed at home, relatively comfortable for Clermont in the end. But yeah, I think the story's probably written there, isn't it?
Are we in I can't see them winning another game territory?
I wouldn't be surprised there are a couple maybe at the end of the season, maybe the kind of once it's done and dusted, which I feel the way Perpignan going down is going to happen, but it feels that way, unfortunately. Right, on to the return of Europe, the Champions Cup, Challenge Cups. Few, obviously, the most important thing of all, albeit maybe not the time of year weather-wise, but there's a few little trips in there for the travelling faithful. I think Provence, if any Munster fans are getting out there nice and early, you could do Provence before Toulon. Could sneak in Valence if you're on a TGV derby, but that is quite aggressive. Again, not exactly around the corner, but doable. Glasgow Warriors fans. Will any of them be at Aurillac? Probably not.
I'd imagine not.
But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Slightly more doable with the
very doable
Hampton game on the Sunday. Angoulême are at home on Friday night. And if you want the bonus Périgueux match, as we did last year,
Saturday afternoon,
Saturday. So
that was one of our trips, I think, of one of our highlighted itineraries of the best itineraries you could do this season was Soy Angoulême into Périgueux into a rematch final of the last year's final. If you're a Northampton fan, even if you bought your tickets to Bordeaux to fly out Friday, you could still get up to Angoulême pretty quickly for the Saturday evening game. Accommodation might be a bit tricky, but yeah, you could probably get back actually. you should stay in Angoulême.
Yeah. And the other one I could see that looked quite good. So ironically, Castor and Albi are playing at home, so that rules that out on the Friday night for any Bath fans. But Albi and Montauban is kind of doable, either by car or by train for Connaught fans. So yeah, a few nice options in there if anyone happens to be listening, heading out, and has decided that one game simply isn't enough, as it never
Or
is.
if you know anyone that's a fan of those teams that is an absolute badger, then give them a nudge and say, look, I've heard that this is something you should do because this would be really cool.
Young Glen one, I'd say, is probably because that is incredibly easy, isn't it? On the kind of fast service, it's like 35 minutes from Bordeaux.
Or if you're driving, it was only 2 hour drive.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
And that was in like the world's heaviest traffic, wasn't it? When we did that, it's not quite as bad if it's earlier in the day. We kind of landed at bang rush hour, but yeah, it's very doable. And Perpignan was lovely as well, albeit wet.
It was wet, wasn't it, when we went? Cool. Maybe that last trip has got to be the place to start, right? Bordeaux hosting Northampton on Sunday night, I think. Sunday evening.
Sunday off. 3:15. Saturday off.
3:15.
Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about Bordeaux and Mathieu Jalibert's form. Obviously, this was a rerun of the final, which doesn't feel like, but a moment ago. Yeah, I don't know what more there is to say. Northampton form team in the Prem as well, probably fairly comfortably. It just looks like it could be an absolute classic.
I hope, and this is the big thing. I hope both teams are at full noise. I think Northampton probably will. There will be an element of revenge there, you'd imagine, after last year's final and the whole Pollock stuff. Oh, Pollock will get booed. There'll be some boos, and then there'll be some English people who'll be like, "Oh, I can't believe French people are booing Henry Pollock. Oh, he's in their heads, and isn't it so disrespectful?" It's like the French people, they don't care. They're going to do what they want. And it's the biggest crowd in France. So yeah, there's going to be some noise around that. But I think I've completely lost my train of thought because went on a rant about booing. Because I think Northampton need to target this. Both teams went pretty strong last weekend. I think they are both going for the approach of battling on both fronts and success breeds success. I think the way that Bordeaux have gone about their business in these last couple of rounds, I know they didn't get the win or they got beaten away at Clermont, but they sent a pretty strong side, and maybe it's because a lot of these guys are quite lightly raced this season because they were out for the first chunk of it, like Luku and Mofana and to an extent Jalibert had a bit of a rest over the autumn. Whether it's that and therefore they feel like they can kind of play them a bit more, or whether it's just they're trying to keep momentum up or whatever, but they have hit their stride. I think you can conclusively say that after the weekend, that the way they demolished Racing in that second half, the form of Deporter and Jalibert and Mofana's back to some of his kind of almost come straight away after such a long layoff, straight away back into his best form. I think I've kind of said this about other teams in French rugby in the past, and certainly Stade Francais feel like one of these sides. The less you chop and change actually can really, really help, and they just feel like they've built momentum. And I think it feels like, from what I've seen anyway, that Northampton have kind of done the same thing with that big win away at Bath. They sent a really strong side there. They had a strong side at home against a team in Quins that have been pretty disastrous recently. So hopefully it's two teams that, are in red hot form. They're building momentum nicely, and we should get an absolute cracker. The thing for Bordeaux, I would say, is still, or it resurfaced a little bit against Racing 92 on the weekend, was the scrum and their kind of tight game. Whether that kind of is an area for Saints to target, not notoriously big themselves. Obviously, if they get Van der Mesch, I don't know if he's fit, that improves their mauling game, but the line out has been a little bit iffy. I think it's tidied up a bit, but it was iffy at key points. I don't think wasn't horrific earlier on in the season, other than that one game against Montpellier, but that would be an area for them to target, I think. Line out and scrum, which we've said for a while with Bordeaux, but it might not matter because Jalibert is Jalibert's good for about 5 tries or creating 5 tries a game. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. It should be a beauty. There's also the massive carrot, right, of the nature of the draw. I think whoever wins this, it will be favourite to top the pool and probably, to use Bordeaux as the example, have that run through to a semi-final that would likely be in Bordeaux at the Matmut Atlantique as well. So yeah, there's a lot riding on it. Yeah, can't wait. In a competition with for being honest, a fair bit of filler. This is definitely not one of them.
This is
so
quite
very exciting.
arguably like the game of the group stage. I think we targeted from a long way back the Toulon Bath game, which was pretty good. But I think this. As soon as I saw this, I was like, wow. The replay of last year's final is one of the group stage games. That is going to be good. Yeah,
definitely. You mentioned Bath.
And also Jalibert also won man of the match in both first rounds. So
Yeah.
can he go 3 on the spin in the Champions Cup?
You mentioned Bath there. You travelled to my boys Cast on Friday night, which is really intriguing. I think one, because of the way that Cast have generally set up in the Champions Cup in the last couple of years, with something resembling a decent enough side. We're very good against Edinburgh and obviously don't like losing at home. And I mean, I haven't followed them too religiously, but Bath have been maybe a little bit less imperious kind of in the last few weeks than they have been in the past. I would imagine, they will probably have a little bit too much for Cast, but I would also I'd like to see a full Cast side take on Bath on a Friday. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, I think it will be a full strength Cast side because you had what's his name, Guiol, the young fly half. Yeah, I think the fact is Arata injured.
I think he might be
because Fernandez has been playing a lot, hasn't he, recently? And he's lost his kicking boots as well. But I think I think Cast might do this. If Cast win this, are they dark horses for the tournament?
No, I don't think they are. Because I think now then their last game they go to Munster, right?
Yeah.
And I think, well, you don't know, do you? You don't know at that point because this group's so tight, isn't it? If you go there and get a losing bonus point, you might get a home quarter or home last 16 like last year, and then I suppose you never know. But I mean, certainly the way they've performed at large today, it wouldn't suggest that they're dark horses, but. It feels like a nice, I mean, what a great trip. But everyone's got one win, right?
Yeah, and only Bath have 6 points. Everyone else has 5.
Yeah,
I think there's
a
a chance for them because Bath obviously are used to getting their own way physically, and we saw against Toulon when even with Thomas Dutoy coming off the bench that wasn't enough to repel a big pack, and I think Cast will go in with their first choice front row. They'll have, Staniforth is fit. Ardron is playing some great rugby. Like the pack, they won't be able to get their own way physically and are like at the breakdown and round the park. Like when you've got guys like Ardron and Staniforth smashing into rucks, that's going to negate the likes of Pepper and Underhill. And then I think they're probably not used to someone like Batitu and Karalevu and guys that can run over Ollie Lawrence and Ajomo and whoever. And Badiang is more of an athletic freak than Will Muir or whoever they put on the wing. Like I'm hopeful for Cast, which means they will lose by 50 points
with 4 red cards.
Yeah, with at least, but Chilichava was in the. He didn't get booked, but he didn't get a yellow card, but he was getting penalised. Which is good to see.
Nice. Yeah, and then the other one that stands out from French perspective. Well, there's 2, aren't there? Toulon hosting Munster, which you'd think. Well, it will be a fully loaded Toulon side. I just love
the embarrassment of Sunday's team selection.
Yeah, I just love the Munster fan base and everything that goes with it around these Champions Cup games. So I think that'll be a great spectacle. And then Toulouse,
they don't come into it.
Saracen.
I think Toulon should win that relatively comfortably, though. I don't think because Munster they have dipped a little bit in their form. Like they were blown away a bit by Bath away. They were not a great result of the weekend away at Ulster. They lost at home to Leinster. I know like some of the teams they're losing to and where they're like they've lost to the Stormers at home recently. So like they aren't in great form. They are like in the playoff places for URC. But I kind of knowing very little about the URC, the mood music that I was getting was that Munster are on a little bit of a dip, and then actually looking at their results, they've had some pretty tough fixtures. But yeah, 28-3 away at Ulster isn't fantastic. And I just think you're right. Cliche. As much as there are cliches about French teams in Europe, never write off Munster at your peril is
Well, they did
arguably
it.
cliche number one in Champions
Did
Cup.
it at La Rochelle last year, didn't they?
Yeah, but La Rochelle were crap.
Yeah, but you still got to still not many teams win there. So, and I don't know enough about this Munster team. So, and I don't know if any of those sides mean we talk about rotation. We have no idea what side they put out at Ulster and
It looked
stuff.
relatively strong. I recognise some names. So
Okay.
yeah, I just think Toulon, given that they've had the extra week off,
Yeah,
that
completely.
they've
Should win
been
that.
fully rested, and I think the way they played against Bath was them back at their best.
Yeah.
Interesting that Garbisi played on the weekend. Do you think that means that Garcia is going to start?
I don't know.
Garcia
I don't know
first choice?
I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, with the Albiner signing as well,
Yeah.
it all just feels a
yeah.
bit unusual. It feels like he's basically.
Albert was there then. Was that with immediate effect?
It may well. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the end of December, wasn't it? I'm actually not sure, but it feels like he's being nudged out.
Yeah.
Nudged, kicked out. And then the other one that of interest, I'd say, is probably Toulouse going to Saracens.
Well, it's probably the other team that care, isn't it? Like in our game of will the French team turn up? Bordeaux, yes. Cast, yes, because they're at home. Toulon, yes, because they're targeting this tournament and they're at home. And then Toulouse away is probably the only other team that really care about this. In the Champions Cup, they rotated last week, so no Dupont, no Entermac, no Ramos. Those are the three main men, really. Aren't they?
Entermac's injured, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. But yes.
So it'd be they playing Kinghorn rather than Ramos at 10, aren't they? I mean, doesn't really matter because Ramos is the main man anyway. But they rest a load of the back rowers as well, like Willis didn't play, did he? And
No.
Flamont and Marchand and guys like that. So a lot of and Malvaca's back. I assume he will be on the bench. He looked decent enough. He didn't have too much line-outs. Pretty good. Toulouse will be at full tilt, and Saracens are a little bit. They are a team on the decline. It feels like.
Yeah.
Certainly, those players are not having as much impact as they used to. Guys like Tompkins and Daly.
Well, our man Billy Searle was running rings around them at the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tend to agree with that. But yeah, it should be. I don't know. It should be. Well, Toulouse can blow teams away, can't they? I don't know. It feels like there might be. To me, that looks like the sort of game that might be competitive for an hour, and then Toulouse stretch away.
Saracens are very hard to beat at the Stone Oaks. I know they've lost a few more recently, but generally they don't lose many, and teams do. They've come into it over the years with teams that come there kind of thinking, oh, we've got a good chance, and then Saracens win by 20 points. It's there's still a lot of quality in there. That could be an absolute belter. That could be a real thriller. Because Toulouse need the win after that Glasgow defeat. They really need a bonus point win. I'd imagine they will score 4 tries. It's just whether they will win the game that will be the big factor, I think.
All right, and that leaves us with Clermont. Have had a rough time of it. They're hosting Glasgow. I'd imagine we'll see some changes there.
Clermont have gone full noise the last 2 weeks. There's absolutely no way they're going strong for this game.
And I don't think, based on what we've seen, Poe and Bayonne are going to send many of the big names over to the Scarlets and Leicester.
Well, do you know who Poe's next top 14 game is?
I do. It's Toulouse.
Toulouse away. So you'd imagine they'll go slightly stronger for the Bulls at home because it's a home game and they're proud, like every other French side, proud home. But Scarlets away, that will be a very similar side to the kids that went to Bristol. Good news for Scarlets fans.
And then
might chalk up a win.
I think Bayonne to Leicester, two sides who haven't won in the Champions Cup yet. I think Bayonne have, I think it feels like they've thrown in the towel, right? Given what we've seen so far.
And Leicester, it's still very much like there's 2 opportunities there to kind of, well, maybe not storm us away, but they were kind of talking ahead of the Leinster game. Well, you might be able to get 5 points at home to Bayonne and therefore get through to the knockouts, which you'd imagine is what they're targeting.
Yeah, which leaves this kind of was a classic, but with the way La Rochelle have been travelling to Leinster, I imagine there'll be very much an eye on the Quins game that we're at the week after.
Yeah,
you would assume
with their injury list. Although Skelton was back, Legarrec was back, someone else good was back as well. So they are getting players back fit. It's just whether I don't know how strong they'll go, but I think Leinster, they might throw in the towel. Ronan O'Gara, you never know, especially with Leinster. But that should be a 15-point at least win for Leinster, I would say, given the way that La Rochelle travel as well.
Yeah. Which leaves us then with the Challenge Cup. I imagine Perpignan might have an interesting side at Newcastle,
Oh God.
as will Racing at Cardiff, probably. Actually, an apology. It's Montpellier Connacht this week, or Connacht this weekend, Connacht Montauban the weekend after. So you can't do,
Okay.
well, I mean, you could do Albi Montpellier, but it's a bloody long way. So you probably wouldn't want to do that.
Mate, Newcastle are 2 from 2 in this. They're going to be top of the
Flying.
league after this.
They're going to be going all right. Montauban,
Well,
Black
Red Bull,
Lion.
of course, they've got wings, mate.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on there.
Which one, sorry?
Montauban, Black Lion. That feels like
Wow.
an unlikely combination. That one, doesn't it? A couple of seasons ago.
Montauban should
I don't
win.
know. I have no idea.
I've got no idea. Black Lion's still winless in this tournament, so in history.
Stade Francais, Exeter. I imagine Stade Francais will maybe a little bit half and half sort of side. Few, and they've got a good squad anyway. So I don't know what Exeter will send, whether they'll do what they did at Racing and send the kids, or
Yeah.
maybe something a little bit stronger. But yeah, we'll see. And then who have we missed?
Racing
that's it.
away to Cardiff.
I think that'll be changed.
Yep. They've also gone strong the last 2 weeks. They've not had but yeah, they were at full noise on Saturday against Bordeaux and ultimately got hammered, but they sent a very strong side. So you'd imagine they'd rest, and then they've got the home game against Cheetahs. And I feel like they've got quite a big game. They are at home to Lyon in the top 14 in the next top 14 round. So that is going to be their priority.
All right, let's park it there. Bored of that. Pro Day there and a few Petit-Fours to finish us off. All right, Rob, it is time. Pro Day Dirt after what feels actually like quite a steady gap. They get kind of a fully well deserved three weeks, is it, give or take off?
3 full weeks, yeah.
From the back end of December. Restarts on Thursday live on FRUK with Provence versus Grenoble, which is, well, I guess has been one of the showpiece fixtures the last few seasons, right? Provence going very well again this year. Grenoble, lots of troubles that we've spoken about, both with injury, coaching overhauls, all of the above. Yeah, what more to say?
Given the theme of this is almost the selections, Grenoble's next 2 fixtures are Agen at home, Van at home. So as much as I would love the fact they get a little bit more of a break with the Thursday to Friday means, and they are the late game, I think, maybe not. Yeah, they are the late game on the Friday in the following round, because there's the Van on a Saturday, aren't they? Hopefully they will still send a strong side. Feel like FRUK fans, there's a big focus on Sam Davis. We might finally see Sam Davis play on FRUK, which would be really cool. He is fit. Whether he gets selected because of those 2 other games coming up remains to be seen. He might be on the bench again. I would have thought they quite want to get some game time into him because he's had a long layoff. This it's kind of a weird one, because talking of FRUK, that was one of the first games we saw on FRUK or English viewers or British viewers were able to see, was the semi-final, where Provence, having destroyed Saint-Guilhem the week before, got absolutely blown away by Grenoble in the semi-final last year.
Yeah.
I think it feels like it could be a reverse of that in this fixture. It feels like Provence are the side that are really kind of nicely joined up at the moment. They've got a huge pack, versus Grenoble, who have got some big names and some big bodies, but haven't quite got the cohesion at the moment, and they're the away side. And I wonder whether, we've seen them just fall away at the back end of games and not quite hit their straps for the full 80. And I wonder if, as a result, Provence could win out quite comfortably.
Yeah, I would tend to agree there. I'm intrigued to see what team Grenoble send, as you say. Like they're not so far adrift that insurmountable by any stretch. But for instance, I think if my maths are right, let's say Provence get a non-bonus point win here and Grenoble get nothing. That puts 18 points between them.
They've got to start winning some games, haven't they?
Like they can't. There's only so many games you can change sides up from here on out, I would say, which hopefully means they send something pretty strong, and hopefully that does mean Sam Davis is back and we spoke about it masses over the whole time we've been doing the pod, but probably the most influential player in the league the past 3 seasons.
Marquez.
Well, yeah, but Bezier have done nothing. So,
Yeah.
so I think in terms of where he gets that or where he takes that side is it'll be awesome if he is back, and be good to see him get a proper run. He's a good
I
player
think
to watch as well.
anyone in particular to look out for from your side on either side?
Oh God, I've really enjoyed. We again said it a lot. I've really enjoyed the young guys at Provence, Hawks, and he's the second row. I've forgotten his name. The other guy on loan from Toulouse has been
Uh,
fantastic.
yes, yes.
That's
Oh,
going to really annoy me. Never
not
mind.
Martin Bonnard, it's the other one. Portat.
Portat, yeah, has been really good. So enjoyed, yeah, and I think also seeing those guys go from these sort of fringish players to, and well, now and then coming back to dip in for Toulouse is very cool. And I think we said at the start of the season they'd be massive for Provence, and so it's proved out.
Looking forward to seeing Provence like play. We've not seen them on
Yeah, I
FI
was going to say
UK.
for a big club, they haven't. Have they been on at all this season?
Don't think so, no. And they like I'm looking forward to seeing from what I can tell from highlights and stuff is that this pack is going really well and the likes of, our team of the mid-season last week. We had Sebastian Taufifenua in there. We had Andres Zafra, the Colombian, their captain, who's really feisty. Roman Laterad was in the mix, guy who was at Bordeaux last year playing at hooker. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys play and like see them in action again and seeing them across a full 80. Like Zafra is a guy that just is like a Staniforth type player, I'd say, like
Yeah.
just aggression in everything, just great work rate. And also hopefully Caleb Muntz. Be interesting to see how he
Yes.
goes. Like hopefully Inga Finau outside him. Finau is talk about influential players in the league for the last few seasons. He's right up there. All court game, loads of physicality, but also Coville is, from what I can tell, has been masterful this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing him for a full 80 as well.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Anything else? Any other fixtures stand out this week? There's a few quite nicely poised. I say Dax at home to Agen is, given their recent travails, obviously need a win and probably on home form, probably fancy this, I would have thought, in spite
I'm
of
pretty sure
Agen's position.
this game last year was like the penultimate game, wasn't it? And it was like, so it was glorious sunshine. I'm pretty sure it was like 10-9. I think it was like 0-0 at half time and stuff like that. But Argen were a very different side then. Yeah, I think it's going to be physical that because that's probably one of the few teams that can genuinely get the edge on Argen up front. A few weeks off for their squad is pretty key because it's slim. Well, it's a thin squad. There are not many members of the squad. They are not particularly
It's a
slim or
big,
thin.
big boys.
Yeah, that's definitely the pick of the other games. I think for me, in that you've got a good side or team going relatively well, going away to a team struggling but with a decent home record and finding a bit of form. So that's an interesting one. Aurillac Colomiers feels like a very or similar sort of ilk of Aurillac going pretty well this season and pretty solid, consistent team week on week at home to a Colomiers side who faltering a little bit towards the back end of 2025, maybe a bit of winter conditions and not having it all their own way in terms of being able to play with the pace. And sides, Aurillac might be a side that they might be able to match physically and therefore might have a bit of a free rein to run riot and out the back. The other one, Saxe-V v Nevers. Saxe-V obviously not a great home record. Nevers going okay, but ultimately winless away. So you could argue that's one that they could target. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Their away record for the last few years has been pretty dire. So yeah,
With
hopefully a win for our boys, Saxe-V.
with lots of Northampton fans in attendance, no doubt
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, very nice.
Former
Looking forward
Northampton
to it.
man playing at Nevers, George Smith,
Yes,
the
yeah.
English lock George Smith, not the Australian legend.
And they also signed, I can't remember the guy's name, but they
Kundiona,
signed Kundiona, is he Zimbabwean prop?
Zimbabwean prop. Yeah,
Went the other way, didn't he?
yeah.
Bit of a, yeah, well, lots of Nevers supporting Northampton fans, no doubt. All right. Nationale's back as well, which is a lot of fun. I'm going to give you a game of the round, Perpignan-Nice, Saturday evening.
Oh,
That'll be a lot
that's
of
a
fun.
huge game. If you're a Northampton fan, get to that. Perrigan. Where are Perpignan in the league? Second,
I
aren't they?
think they're second to
Didn't he?
Albi. I can tell you right now, they are. Well, Perigeux are fourth.
Oh,
Albi, Narbonne, Nice, Perigeux. So it's third v fourth.
oh,
But
they're
there's
third
not.
in the one I'm looking at. They're locked on points with Nice,
Uh,
46 points.
yeah, I've got that here as well. But I think points difference,
Okay,
maybe
they've got
give or take.
wins. I've got wins.
They've
Wins
got.
doing it for.
Okay, yeah, they've won one more. Anyway, go to that. Will be a lot of fun.
That should also, if you're not in the west of France or in the Charente Dordogne region ish, I'd imagine that would be on Rugby Rama's YouTube channel because that is quite a good game. If you do want to watch a bit of, if you're not fired up by the Champions Cup or Challenge Cup fixtures on Saturday evening, that should be one to watch on Rugby Rama for free.
Lovely stuff. Okay, then to round us off, Rob, a few Petit-Fours to get this going. We will be next week or a couple of weeks' time. We'll be at La Rochelle. We will be we'll be at the home fixture, which is the game after the home fixture after La Rochelle have sold out for 10 years in a row, all matches, which I would say is extraordinary. I guess that longevity is absolutely extraordinary, but in recent years, it's just such a given that happens that it feels like, you almost need to take stock of that. It's pretty remarkable.
Basically, since they got back into the top 14 the second time round, right?
Yeah, it must be. It's a pretty astonishing record. No, they extended the ground slightly this year. I would hazard a guess there must be plans to try and do more, right? There have to be.
I don't know how much space they've got. We will find out next week.
We will find out.
Maybe we can ask someone.
Yeah, yeah. Someone deep in there.
Yeah.
Some dodgy president somewhere. Actually, I don't know much about the La Rochelle president ownership. It's not someone you see get the limelight too much.
No. Other than when he walked out mid-game.
Yes, who was that
last
again?
season? I think it was against Racing, wasn't it?
Or was it the van? Oh, it might be. Or the van.
Was it Crete? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that was good fun. Anything that you've seen in the week?
Very, very little, I'm afraid, Richard. I saw yesterday Ali Crosdale has retired, former Perpignan man. It's a bit of a shame. I know he's at the age of 27. Yeah.
Injuries or
injuries? Yeah, he's barely ever been fit, I think.
That's a real shame.
The other one is apparently Adam Hastings to Montpellier is apparently a done deal. They're loving their Scots at Montpellier.
Yeah,
Price,
they really are.
Hoggy, Masabaka. Don't know if is that it. I think that's it.
Probably is it. Yeah.
So yeah, that quite interested to see him play some top 14. The other one was sent by a long-time listener, friend of the show, Jolly, on Instagram, who shared like a Bordeaux decanter, which was basically you pour a bottle of wine into this rugby ball shell, and then it's got a little tap at the bottom, and it just becomes a decanter. It seemed a bit unnecessary, but why not? If you like your novelty decanters and you're a Bordeaux fan, or you're a fan of Bordeaux wine, then maybe that's the thing for you. Yeah.
Why not? Very nice. The only other bits I caught, well, one was a sort of a fairly, well, it was quite fun, an interview with Nathan Hughes and Joey Marnie around New Year's resolutions, which Joey Marnie said Nathan Hughes needs to eat fewer biscuits, which is quite funny. Yeah, harsh given how good a season Nathan Hughes had in the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
I think the biscuits are serving him all right. Also saw Francois Tramduc posted his collection of international 10 jerseys, which had some names in there that you had your Carters, your Wilkinsons. You also had like the real names, your Dan Parks, your Reece Patchells. There are also a couple of who's it? I think Stephen Jones and Stephen Donald, but it was like at Stephen space Donald. So there's some bloke called whoever the first person on Instagram called Stephen has now been tagged in something by a former French fly half saying, I've got a couple of your shirts, which
I'm pretty sure we've tagged like just a random Georgian bloke called David Niniashvili before.
Yeah, I don't know.
It happens best. We very nearly tagged Ben White, the footballer.
Amazing. And then the final thing I saw was our pod favourite Nons the Quang seems to have his own. Well, the literal translation is I have to be careful how I say this. Nons pranks, which this week involved Dupont and Anthony Jalonche in front of the green screen pretending to be air hostesses.
Oh wow.
which was
Is this like a little Canal Plus kind of
It
segment
is.
of
I
like?
think it's a segment on there. Is it like the Sunday? Is it like a Sunday
Yeah,
night rap they do?
it's called like it's not called La Nuit de Rugby, but it's called something like that, isn't it? It's like
Is it the one that Shabal you often see on? I think is
yeah,
yeah.
I
Anyway,
can
I
picture
don't know
it.
what's going on. The thing that always gets me is just how like Jalon has some. Yeah, he's got some facial expressions. Find it funny. DuPont's expression never really changes, regardless of what's going on. Like, it seems like everyone's finding it hilarious. And I think he looks like he's having quite a good time, but you just never know. But yeah, if you want to see DuPont and his big mate
Oh
Anthony
wow, here we go.
in front of a green
So
screen,
it's on Canal. Oh, I think I can watch it now. 6 minutes. Canal Rugby Club
rugby
is
club.
what it's
Okay.
called. Yeah. Can I? I think I can watch this. Oh, anyway, let's not do that now. If I would say you can. Oh God, you can. Just as a general tip, you can download the Canal Plus app and register, and that's how you can get like your free highlights. And you can't watch all of it even without a subscription. You can't get a subscription in the UK, but a lot of people think we do have a subscription, which would be very nice if Canal Plus are listening and wanted to give us a subscription. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, so I think I can watch this just for free. It's like a 6 minute clip on the Canal Plus app.
Very nice. All right.
Prankster nonce. Yeah.
Prankster nonce, which seems a bit old school, that, doesn't it? But there we go. Right.
There's
I think
there's quite a lot on here. There's Sebastian Chabal as a Father Christmas as well, which is in Le Prankster nonce.
Superb. Right, we're pretty much there. Enjoy the weekend of rugby, Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, Pro Day de Nationale, everything you could ever want. You can follow us, Rob,
Crackers this weekend.
at Rosbiff Rugby. Get in touch, rosbiffrugby at gmail.com. I'm going to go away and smash down half a box of Strepsils and hopefully sound something like normal next week. In the meantime, that's been Rob. I've been Richard. We've been the Rosbiff Rugby podcast. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.